What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the other day, I was going ahead and scrolling through Reddit, and I actually saw, believe it or not, an appreciation post for Battlefield 6. I know, shocker, usually over on Reddit, all you see is nothing but hate. But this post that I saw kind of gave me a little inspiration to make an appreciation post for myself as well, and give this team a lot of thanks, because seriously, if it wasn't for at least a couple of these individuals, I guarantee Battlefield 6 would have been in the absolute dumps. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before going dive deep, I do want to show you guys this about Portal that I saw over on Reddit as well, which really, it's making me excited for Portal, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can really tell you guys. All the other modes, obviously, I am extremely pumped for, especially Conquest and Breakthrough, since that's my bread and butter in Battlefield. But since Portal failed in 2042 so heavily, seeing stuff like this is really making me excited. But as you can see right here, internally, they had play-tested game modes with custom scripting and AI improvements, so you're able to make your own custom UI and improve how the NPCs behave and perform. There's a whole host of tweakables and mutators, like the ability to do closed weapons, hardcore mode. What we're seeing is somebody in the studio create a top-down 2D shooter, or even a horde mode where you purchase guns from an MCOM. Ladies and gentlemen, I just have to say, Portal is sounding so unbelievably good right now. The more I read about it and the more news that I get to witness and the more creations I get to see come to life, I cannot wait to see what the community does with this when it finally gets into everybody's hands. Once this goes completely open, I can only imagine the creations that people are going to come up with. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the actual topic of today's video, the appreciation post. And this definitely sparked my interest, especially after playing some 2042, as you can see in the background footage. I kind of ran out of gameplay with how many videos I've been posting, so I had to hop on something. And I decided, you know what? Let's see 2042. And boy, oh boy, every single time I load on in, I remember exactly why. Everybody decided to go ahead and ditch this game and go back and play older ones. It's absolutely mind-boggling, but let's dive deep into the actual post itself. This is a Reddit post by Character Worth, and it says, "Disagreements aside, we as a community need to thank this man, and I'll tell you why." And of course, it was a picture of Vince Zampella. And the post actually says, "When 2042 was the biggest laughingstock in FPS history, EA made the only smart decision they have made in years. They reconstructed their leadership positions and put Vince Zampella in charge of Battlefield. If you're unfamiliar with Vince Zampella, here's a quick history lesson. Co-founded Infinity Ward and created the first ever Call of Duty. After a financial dispute with Activision, he went on to find Respawn Entertainment. While at Respawn, he did a few things relevant to FPS history, created Titanfall 1 and 2. Some even say Titanfall 2 is the best FPS of all time, but was swallowed by releasing between Battlefield 1 and COD Infinite Warfare. Created the first ever AAA virtual reality FPS game with Medal of Honor VR, which included a short film that won a frickin' Oscar, making him the leader of the first ever Oscar associated with the video game. That I actually had no clue about, so that's insane information. And created what many say is the best Battle Royale ever made, and the only Battle Royale that managed to dethrone Fortnite with Apex Legends, even though that dethroning was short-lived. And I will add, it might have been short-lived, but Apex Legends is still in the top 3 most notable Battle Royale games, and you have to keep in mind, there was no marketing for that game whatsoever. They just shadow dropped it, and it blew up. Maybe they had some marketing with some content creators, but seriously, that's it. No actual commercials or anything, just shadow dropping with some creators playing it, and it becomes the top BR ever. And it's a lot more to it than just marketing that made Apex Legends one of the GOATs in the BR industry. And the post continues on to say, "And now he is here, taking all that expertise and history to Battlefield. This man only knows one thing, to make successful FPS games. If EA dips their paws in and ruins it, hate EA. But we all need to thank this man for being the only reason we have a shot at Battlefield greatness again." Gotta be real with you guys, I completely agree with this overall statement. Because let's be real, when Vince Zampella wasn't here, and also a lot of the other OG classic devs weren't there, throughout the whole lifespan of Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 2042, we saw where the franchise was pushing, and it was not looking so sweet, ladies and gentlemen. Battlefield got completely knocked off course, and it needed a massive shakeup when it came to the leadership positions to make sure that we can get things back on track. And it seems EA was not messing around with their budget. They probably spent above and beyond to get Vince Zampella over on Battlefield and to leave what he's currently working on. But in my personal opinion, it was completely worth it because, again, this man has not caught any L's whatsoever. He has caught W after W after W after W. And although I know he has never worked on a Battlefield game before, that doesn't mean he doesn't have the talent to go ahead and push out something fantastic. He has already branched out to so many different genres, and as I stated, hasn't caught an L in any of them. So that puts us in a very unique situation with Battlefield 6, right? It puts us in a situation where Battlefield's been struggling for a while. You know, we're down in the trenches, and a lot of people think that this is the last stand in Battlefield. So this is either a make it or break it moment for Battlefield, but at the same time, this is a moment for Vince Zampella to either, again, catch his first L ever in the history of his career, or continue to pump out Ws, and kind of returning, Battlefield to its former glory. Also, let's not forget that, he probably does have a little previous beefs with Call of Duty, especially after getting that lawsuit, and Activision tried to screw over the whole team at Infinity Ward, hence why he left and went ahead and founded Respawn Entertainment. But, that might have a little spark in his soul to try to compete for the top contender for FPS games out there. Now, it's never going to go ahead and surpass Call of Duty. I mean, Battlefield is still, it's not niche, but it's a little bit more niche than something like Call of Duty, where it's very simple to hop in and anybody can go ahead and play it and anybody can get a few kills. Battlefield, you gotta think a bit more, You got to be a little bit more in it to win it. But there's no better franchise to make that push with than Battlefield. And I think he knows this, and I think he's coming for blood. He's not messing around, and he knows that the Battlefield community isn't put together with a bunch of people who are going to complain and then just go ahead and keep on playing the game. Time and time and time again, the Battlefield community has proven, look, I don't like this, I'm not playing. Battlefield 5 went through a lot of crap until it could get to where it's at now, and it's much better. But the player base wasn't sitting around waiting for it at the beginning of the game. A lot of them just dipped. Same thing with 2042. A lot of people didn't like 2042. They thought it was awful, one of the worst Battlefield games ever made. Guess what? Not only did they complain about it, but they left the game. They just ditched it. He knows this. He knows what people want in this community, and that's why we're seeing such a solid product so far within Battlefield 6. And I'm not talking about trailers. I'm not talking about fake hype. No, I'm talking about the months worth of labs footage that we have seen. The months worth of real people getting real play time with the game in such an early form. And everybody and their freaking mother says it performs 10 times better than Battlefield 2042 ever did. And everything, even down to the atmosphere, sounds, gunplay, everything, all of the above, is literally just mopping 2042. And of course, there's one more person that we have to go ahead and thank. We must go ahead and thank David Serland. Now, for anybody who doesn't know who this individual is, this is actually a perfect description by Silver down under the comment section of, the previous post I showcased to you guys. But he said, David Serland, aka Digger, is a veteran DICE developer who's been with DICE and Battlefield since Battlefield 2. Sans a few interruptions here and there for one reason or another. He's also an absolute maniac for good gunplay. He left the company on quote-unquote friendly terms during the development of Battlefield 5, rumor has it due to disagreements with management, and sat out 2042 as well. Evidently, Vince Zampella or someone else in the studio convinced him to come back for Battlefield 6, and apparently he's effectively the gunplay guy now. These reasons alone, ladies and gentlemen, is why we are seeing and witnessing what we are seeing and witnessing. And again, like I said, we can't just thank Vince Zampella. Seriously, thank goodness David Serland decided to come on back and give this franchise another push. And how much do you want to bet he gave the franchise another push because of the fact that Vince Zampella was coming in as the head dev? I am honestly almost willing to guarantee that is one of the main reasons. Because he saw the direction of the Battlefield franchise. He saw where everything was going. The fact that he, again, left for friendly terms from Battlefield 5, although Battlefield 5 was one of the roughest situations and had such horrifying community interactions. And then 2042, afterwards, seems like, they learned nothing from Battlefield 5. They refused to take any of the good knowledge and put it back into the game. They just made it worse, destroyed it. I could see why he stepped away from 2042 as well. There had to be some ego, some crap going on behind the scenes within Battlefield that was ruining the overall environment. And then we saw that shift happen in the middle of 2042, where the devs became extremely friendly. Everybody was talking with one another. Interactions were happening all the time, They're starting to change all the things around for the community, everything we've been begging for. And apparently, David Serland was back in the building. Honestly, I think that because of David Serland and Vincent Pella, along with a lot of other people who have been picked up at DICE. I'm sure a lot of people are coming on through, and they are really, hardcore with this team right now. Because of them, we are getting the communication that we're getting, and we're getting the product that it seems we're getting as well. And again, I don't want to overhype anything, because Battlefield 6 could turn out to be very rough. But I don't think there's really any main Battlefield players who have played this game, even the most critical of them, that does not like the base of what this game is built around. It's a trillion times better than 2042, and even if we have some mishaps, we're going to be in a better spot. There's no doubt about it. And that would not be possible without the team that we have behind the scenes. So, again, I know it might make people a little salty and say, oh, JB, you're jumping the gun, but I do got to thank them, at least for what we've seen so far, because just atmosphere, looks, visuals, and I guess overall term of gameplay is so phenomenally better. And it's all because of the main devs who are coming back on through and making it happen. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I just saw this post over on Reddit, and I thought it would be phenomenal to spread the love as well, and seriously say thank you to some of the devs who are putting in a lot of work to try to make sure this community is more happy than in 2042. As I just stated, I understand the gameplay might be, something that not everybody's going to be down with. But when it comes down to communication, how they're, managing the game, how they're working around certain things and obstacles, it seems like we really are first and foremost when it comes to priorities. And it hasn't been like that in a long time. Honestly, I can barely even remember the last time a AAA team truly put the community front row and center. Usually it's smaller teams who hyper-prioritize their game around the community. But to see Battlefield take such huge steps and all these, major things that are going on are because of us and things we've said in the past with Battlefield 5, Battlefield 2042, shoot, maybe even before, and, earlier Battlefield games. Can't forget, the devs did say they went back to each and every one and took the good and tried to ignore the bad. So it's a lot of inspiration in this title, and I think people are truly feeling it. But let me know what you guys think down below. If you think this game is going to be fine, if you think it's going to flop, do you think that the head devs deserve any love just yet, or do you think that we should be patient and not, bother with that just at this current moment until the game's actually pushed out to everyone? I want to know what everybody's opinions are about this down below. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post your daily at 8 morning Eastern time. Battlefield, COD, Splitgate 2, Arca Raiders. You best believe you'll hear about all this content on this channel. And sometimes we even go ahead and double upload, usually in the middle of the day, like 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to stay up to date on all this different content, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, if you guys want to catch any of my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I'll link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all next one. Peace out.